Welcome to Blessed to Teach Show. This is Rick, your host here on Wednesday, July 31st, coming live on YouTube really early because I fly out later tonight. So we will be, got calls coming in here, but we will be rolling with some awesome news about the Declass of text with McCabe in the UK. And another example of the mainstream media trying to hide everything. So it will be quite exciting as we go through this here. So anyway, let's get this. Yeah, there's been a little bit of Declass, Brett, and that is the text that at least you're probably right. It probably has not been declassed yet, but we know that the Guardian's reporting on it, so that it's actually if they got that, I would imagine it was either a leak or text. So we'll get into the Declass of the text. We'll get into the SB2 Decode as well as some other great news here as we go. And I got people for here from all over again. Thank you guys for joining me from Rockaway Beach, Missouri. Thank you for joining Dennis Jordan Blog and Kathy and Ginger and Lou and Fighting the Home Front and Jody and Tammy and Wadzungo. Thank you for all being here. Let's get rolling. It's my birthday, says it's me, DJ Mario. Well, happy birthday. That's awesome. Let's get rolling here. Look at this. This is some big news that already hit. Epstein's trial will have 1 million pages of evidence, lawyers tell court. This just came out today. Again, prosecutors say it will include materials found on devices seized from the financier's Manhattan mansion. So that is quite interesting. So Jeffrey Epstein's sex trafficking trial will have 1 million pages of discovery. Lee, where we go, when we go all, just said that Victoria's Secret canceled this year. Interesting. I'm not sure what part is there a yearly type of event or something? That's interesting. But sex offender financier was back in court Wednesday as his defense attorneys duked it out with prosecutors over how quickly to go to trial. Thank Dado Bear and Jeff Stewart. A bunch of where we go, one we go all. That's awesome. Love it, guys. I'm going to try to up this up a little bit on size. This U.S. District Judge Richard Bernan wasn't ready to put the trial on the books, says. Let's see what everybody is at the months as the months go by. Epstein walked into court with his eyeglasses on his head, but no visible injuries after he reportedly hurt himself in his cell. Right. So anyway, it goes on and on. But I think that just the news is that, wow, we have a lot of devices and millions of pages of information. That's why the Keystone is probably going down hard. All right. Hey, the sponsor of this episode is Rate Family. So you go to ratefamily.com. And I know that the death in the family can be hard, but unfortunately, we all have to deal with it sooner or later. All of us leave behind final expenses such as funeral costs, medical bills, and other debts. In fact, the average funeral cost is $8,000 to $9,000 alone. Having no insurance when you die can leave your loved ones with a huge bill to deal with, and no one wants that. Take control of your family's destiny today and have the satisfaction they will be financially taken care of. Visit ratefamily.com and get a free quote. You can select the best plan to fit your needs and budget. Burial expenses is very easy to budget for, and you can even choose how often to make payments. Some members pay as little as $36 per month due to income level. Again, visit ratefamily.com, or you can call 855-919-RATE. That's 855-919-RATE. So life insurance, don't let your family pay for your final expenses. Click here for a free quote. You'll see that down below this video. Let's get rolling on some Q posts. We did 3563 yesterday. Again, I'm on vacation. You can see I'm still in the hotel. I do fly back to the studio, so tomorrow should be live in the studio. And we'll be digging into a full-length show. This is probably going to be a shorter show again, based upon having to get to the airport, etc. But let's dig into the 3563. We talked about these Q links to Pope's tweet on human trafficking. So this Godfather 3, it's going to be biblical. What I missed here is when I looked on this last time is I didn't realize this was Pope Francis' tweet that I missed, I think, yesterday. So I want to make sure we hit this. He says, "Let us pray that the Lord will free the victims of human trafficking and help us to respond actively to the cry for help of so many of our brothers and sisters who are deprived of their dignity and freedom. Hashtag end human trafficking. Now, isn't that interesting? Right? So why does the Podesta have this artwork depicting children naked in the Vatican pool? Yep, and that is a lot of funky things going on here. But just the fact that he said Godfather 3, which had a lot to do with the Pope. I was talking about the whole family going down, but it also had a lot to do with the Pope and corruptness. So that might be what Godfather 3 is talking about in more detail. Interesting. That's 3553 that came out yesterday around 5:23. Then we had 3564 after we went off the air. This is, you can see, all the way at 9 p.m. yesterday. He puts this Guardian article in here, and this talks about the secret texts. And so this is them getting ahead of the story. Obviously, it looks like they're trying to, I'm okay with that for now. Secret text casts light on the UK's early role in Trump-Russia inquiry. And you'll see here that this really makes it, smoothing it out. It's talking about it was infrequently, and it was not very, wasn't very, not very criminal, is basically the way they're making it sound. So this is the example of the getting ahead of a story. They're trying to say, oh yeah, we reported on this, even though we knew the UK's been involved for a long time. It's finally going to become public with a Declass, and so they're trying to get ahead of the story. And this talks about the senior MI5 and McCabe sharing concerns about our strange situation. And basically, the strange situation was that Trump was elected, and they wanted to figure out how to entrap him. So there's a whole entrapment operation, but this whole article basically tries to make it seem much less serious than what it was. But this is what they tried to have us not declass. UK asking Trump not to do this. The exchanges underscore a sensitive issue in the U.S., namely the role of foreign intelligence services play in the FBI's decision to initiate an investigation into the Trump campaign. On July 31st, the FBI opened up a covert counterintelligence investigation codenamed Crossfire Hurricane into the then presidential candidate's possible collusion with Russia. So anyway, just the fact that these texts are being highlighted and they're trying to get ahead of the story is kind of an exciting thing, showing that the deep state knows, oh my goodness, he's actually going to declass all this stuff. UK is going to be implicated, and we don't have any articles showing that. So now we have to show some of that. To me, that's what 3564 is about. The early role in the Trump-Russia inquiry. Here you have a 3565 where George Papadopoulos is much more bold, saying, see Guardian article. This is what Q says about it. See Guardian article, which we just saw. How do you get ahead of a story? Coincidence? And I think it is a huge coincidence in that they are actually trying to get ahead of the story. It's not a coincidence at all, obviously. Right now, if we look at what George Papadopoulos tweeted, he's getting bold, man. I love how he's getting bold. It says transcripts are out tomorrow. The first demonstrable proof to show that not only did we not collude, but the whole world was against us, and Donald Trump still won in 2016. When it's all said and done, the story will be of a global effort to take us down that backfired big time. It's like, whoop. I tell you what, it did backfire, as we're going to see with the huge boomerang coming around. That was 3565. This was summarized as George Papadopoulos' first demonstrable proof that there was no collusion coming today. And the fact that UK is being shown as using Five Eyes incorrectly. We're going to see the same thing, I think, with Italy. The same thing. I mean, there's Five Eyes. They're not part of Italy's not, but collusion from foreign countries like Ukraine and Italy. But the Five Eyes, we're going to definitely see with Downer and others, Australia being brought into this, and as well UK. And then Q puts out a 24-hour warning. Be vigilant. See something, say something. Know your surroundings at all times. Q. And what's real interesting, remember the tweet before, he said August is going to be a really hot month. And here he is, basically, really late on the 30th, basically the 31st, saying 24-hour warning, right before the first Get ready, guys. Here it comes. Now, this could be a head fake for just to see how much ammunition they have again as they wait a little bit. So we can't jump to conclusions on this at all, right? But that's all we have at this point in time that we had got last night after I went off the air. I'm sure, but with the pace he's going, I would imagine we have some more coming here soon. So that'll be quite exciting later tonight to see what's on the Hannity show, see what's on other things. I'll be in the air, I think, during the Hannity show, but hopefully we'll be able to fire up the Wi-Fi in the airplane. Now, let's see. Let's get into an SB2 decode. There's the Epstein thing. There it is right here. I think it's right here. So Trump's reversal of the chemtrails, third confirmation. So this is this SB2 thing that he did about, looks like a little over a day ago. Did you catch the latest confirmation about Trump taking control of the chemtrails and reversing them? The chemtrail issue is so serious and consequential that in addition to the skies healing and changing before our eyes, it is fortunate the maestro is sending multiple confirmations to help those who are still skeptical about his tremendous victory over the cabal. Before I show you this third proof confirming my initial post and dropped after the Air Force One and NSA confirmations revealed in these articles, and there's a link to those two articles as well as the initial one, I want to talk about an important issue that Q addressed recently. Q 3476 was posted in reference to the increased attacks from paid shills and or infiltrators claiming to be part of our movement when in fact they are pursuing a personal agenda with specific goals. They're easily to recognize, and I have described them in the past. They have 1 foot in, 1 foot out. They don't learn the comms, refuse there are comms despite Q's repeated statements, are terrified of losing their readership, and only find peace by attacking our most valuable anons who were mentioned by Q, while they, despite their great loquacity, have been royally ignored. The silence that Q has reserved for these people in the cause of the frustration that leads them to go as far as to attack him every once in a while to remain relevant. There's a specific reason Q never mentioned them and never will, except when he feels it's time to expose them. Puzzle coming together? Happy hunting. As we move forward, more truth will be revealed by the maestro and Q, and these revelations are like poison for the cabal, the deep state, and their fake news. Q 1602. The game is over when the public knows. The fight to keep the lights off is all that matters to you. Back to these, this is why, even though there's some information that comes out that's like attacking in the Matrix, or attacking Shady Groove, or attacking Praying Medic, or attacking who else was been attacked really heavily? Dustin Nemos, and those guys aren't perfect. They've made mistakes. I've made mistakes, but I just trying to get us in unison, not to fight each other and point our guns at the cabal. And Q hasn't called any of those people out as being bad, right? As of now, right? The people he has is the Jack Posobics of the world, etc., right? Those are the ones that are trying to divide, in my opinion. So let's point our guns at the cabal. My message is keep that up for if everybody's there, and versus digging in trying to expose somebody who's actually giving great information and doing great shows. I don't think that does anybody any good. And as I said, we have to lock arms with people of other religions to fight the cabal right now. That's the war right now. Now, obviously, we're not going to legitimize false religions or cults, but we definitely need to lock arms, in my opinion, with people of all faiths for the freedom of religion, for the Constitution. That's where we go when we go all. That's all people of all religions. Now, most of you and me and most of my listeners are deep Christians who love the Bible as well. They love the Lord and love our country, both. That's the cool thing about. I just feel spoiled to have you guys as part of my audience. So thank you for that. Let's continue with SB2. We talked about Q1602. The game is over when the public knows. The fight to keep the lights off is all that matters to you. This is the reason why attacks will intensify from outside and inside. Be prepared and stay the course. Shills will shill. Actors will act. We keep moving. Infiltrators? The answer is yogurt. Read very carefully in, here it is, image 1. Now, this yogurt thing takes you over to this other whole post he did about Trump's victory in Singapore summit and the deep state relation to buckle up, and talking about the different types of, he used this term yogurt. I can't remember exactly what that was about, but the answer is that there's going to be shills attacking us inside and out. We just move on. Read carefully in image 1. Attacks will intensify as more truth is revealed. So you'll see here, this is way back and very hard to read, but this is back in 3:12:19. It says, and we read this other day, so I'm not going to read it again, but basically those who attack you, those who mock you, those who coal you, those who control you, do they represent you or do they represent themselves? Obviously we know what that is. It's themselves. It looks like he's expand on it here, and then here's where it says, decide for yourself, be free from outside opinion. Decide for yourself, be objective in your conclusions. Decide for yourself, be true to your own beliefs. Decide for yourselves, be open to following the facts. Decide for yourself, be strong in defending your beliefs. Decide for yourself, be resistant to blindly accepting factless statements. Decide for yourself, be free. And all in red, in bold, he has those who attack you, those who mock you, those who coal you, those who control you, those who label you. Do they represent you, or do they represent themselves in some form? Mental enslavement. The Great Awakening, freedom of thought, was designed and created not only as a back channel to the public, away from the long-standing mind control of the corrupt and heavily biased media, to endure future events through transparency and regeneration of individual thought, breaking the chains of groupthink. But more importantly, aid in the construction of a vehicle, a ship that provides the scattered free thinkers with a starter new social networking platform, which allows for freedom of thought, expression, and patriotism or national pride, the feeling love, devotion, and sense of attachment to a homeland and alliance with other citizens who share the same sentiment. When non-dogmatic information becomes free and transparent, it becomes the threat to those who attempt to control the narrative and or the stable. When you are awake, you stand on the outside of the stable, groupthink collective, and have free thought. Free thought is a philosophical viewpoint which holds that positions regarding truth should be formed on the basis of logic, reason, empiricism, rather than authority, tradition, revelation, or dogma. When you are awake, you are able to see clearly. The choice is yours, and yours alone. Trust and put faith in yourself. You are not alone, and you are not in the minority. Difficult truths will soon see the light of day. Where we go one, we go all. Q. Now, let's get to it. Have you detected and solved the unhealthy focus of the fake news on the Trump recyclable straws? No adequate laws for the border. Mueller not aware of Fusion GPS and the fake news does not care. But the Trump recyclable straws, they made all the headlines. Look here. Here's image 2 here. It goes in, why is the fake news focusing on the straws? Political, look at this. All sent inside Donald Trump's brilliant and sinister merchandising operation. Trump now selling merchants specifically designed to destroy the planet. So this is these companies. That's just crazy, right? That was Vanity Fair. Here you go, Huffington Post saying now Trump is selling overpriced straws to thirsty fans just to own the libs. And CNBC, Trump's campaign offered 10 plastic straws for $15 because liberal paper straws don't work. And they just sold out. Trump's re-election campaign raised $460,000 from selling plastic straws. Donald Trump's last weapon in the culture war, a red plastic straw. Newsweek, liberal paper straws don't work. Trump 2020 campaign selling branded straws for $15 a pack. And what's interesting, it's I don't know. I was in Nashville a couple of weeks ago, as you guys know, when I was filming the light show there, right? And one of those places got a Diet Coke and had the what do you call it, the paper straw, and oh man, it got soggy. It was terrible. Sorry guys, I'm going with plastic. So this is SB2 continues saying, you've thought the fake news stopped there? No, the Trump recyclable straws made it to the presidential press gaggle. Watch. So here it is in the press.
Are you in favor of banning plastic straws? I do think we have bigger problems than plastic straws. You know, it's interesting about plastic straws. So you have a little straw, but what about the plates, the wrappers, and everything else that are much bigger, and they're made of the same material? So the straws are interesting. Everybody focuses on the straws. There's a lot of other things to focus, but it's an interesting question.
Did you catch it? The maestro said twice that it was an interesting question. The second time by putting this hand on the side of his mouth and giving a staged confidential connotation to his statement. He was inviting Anons to investigate further. Did you solve this riddle? Try and come back to compare your findings with mine. Did you notice that the Team Trump tweeted about the straws on July 25th? Peruvian coffee, for those who noticed, July 25th is 725, which is code for 25 minus 7 equals R equals 18. And who made the connection with my chemtrail article? With its letter R, it's Rainbow and Queen Elizabeth. So if you look at that previous decode, it showed Queen Elizabeth, and she had that, you know, so he's equating that to the straw. Make straws great again. Shop now. Get your Trump recyclable straw today. Make straws great again. $15. So it sounds like Blue got some of those. Do you see it? Do you really see it? You know, pointing to this little thing, this rainbow that goes in and kind of disappears in her garment that he decoded last time. So I was go back and look at my other SB2 decodes, or In the Know did some great ones as well, where he actually does some heavy editing and makes a show out of it. Look how the Team Trump tweet is beautifully connected through the 88022 number and the tarmac image in my confirmation article here. And there's an image 4 here. That kind of shows this. Shall we play another Q-proof game? And there's the Trump straws again. And here you have the decoded message here from the past one was parking the shape shifting MV22 Osprey next to the tower that represents the rainbow or tube through which the Queen was metaphysically spraying her people, confirms that the chemtrails that were sprayed to cause harm are now sprayed to heal and purify. The Phoenix principle applied to Viva versus Vive. Are you enjoying this as much as I do? And he laughs and he goes, Q2548. You are witnessing something firsthand that many cannot possibly comprehend or accept as reality. Sci-fi or precision military planning. And this is a picture taken that confirms he is in control of the chemtrails and reveals more. And SB2 continues. You thought these were only links? Let me tell you, you are here for a treat. Did you notice the blurred hookah in the background? Look how it's connected to another image in my article of how chemtrails are naturally pulled in. This is image 5. Did you catch the hookah? So you can see there it is right there. We're in the background of this. And you can see this right here. It goes, the hookah pulled the chemtrails. Because obviously that's basically one of those Indian things that you basically smoke. People do this at big, huge parties all the time. And he's basically talking about Air Force One and mildly back from the other ones, pointing to the chemtrails. Now look at the timestamp. It's 3:18. He's talking about this timestamp of this tweet that he tweeted at 3:18 or 15:18. So then you can bring in some Q drops based on the the 2400 and 1200 rule. He brings in 1518, and he's looking at 11.3 and 11.6 that's in there. And you look at the capital letters, etc. You think out of the box. Peruvian coffee. See the connection between the letters and the numbers. And the phoenix rising from the ashes. Coincidence? So he's using Jewish gematria there. And then it's basically some of the key words that's going to be coming into this decode is resurrection, conversion, destruction of the old guard, allegiance to the old guard, invasion by the old guard, and also salute to America, make America great again, Barack Hussein Obama, end of the republic, immortal queen. We go to Q 1518 and we see two numbers of 11.3 and 11.6 that contain the building blocks of 163, which is the famous number the maestro took from the Cabal and resurrected through what I call the Phoenix principle. Coincidence? I told you the past decode that every time you see the number 22, your Jewish gematria alarm should ring because the Hebrew alphabet has 22 letters. Since 22 appears in the text number 8822, we go through the in-context Jewish gematria possibilities of the three identified groups of capital letters from databases like this one. You can go see it. There's a whole database here that you can go check these out and find that if we see the connection between the letters and the numbers and think out of the box, we'll get Peruvian coffee. Aha, excellent. It's now time to play a game. Q3455. Shall we play a game? Reconcile. The game consists of finding natural ways to reconcile the number of 163 using each interpretation per item once by connecting letters and numbers as hinted above. And he's looking at image 7 here. You'll find 7 color-coded solutions that allow hitting 163 when each item used when reading the 7 solutions as a whole. Hope I'm not just really slowing down here because that's not even loading for me. Let me bring up to see if my connection looks good. Loading. It still says loading here. Usually that would come right open the image up, but we'll just keep on going here. We had to notice that the anagram text trump to 8022 is solved with trump 8022 to text n. Since 8022, 82 plus 82 is 1010 to 10 repetition rule. The anagram becomes trump 10 to text, and with a double meaning on the verb trump, 10 written in text becomes 10, and the pack of 10 for $15 can be read pack of 10 for $15. These riddles are amazing. So basically his whole gematria, there it is, it finally just opened, basically came back to the whole point of the gematria coming back and confirming the picture. Go through the solutions and try to reproduce them by solving the tweet without looking. Excellent brain muscle exercises. In case you really want to go outside the box, as an example, I'll give you another route for the black solution on the timestamp of 3:18. It can be written 3, 1 plus 17 p.m. or Camp Q. How many Family Feud points do you think you would get with straws for camp? This Camp Q allows me to go to Q board and notice there are only 3 drops with a word camp, 15, 436, and 1605. The problem is they're transported and simplified to these digits that can be written 16 in brackets, 3 in brackets, then 15 minus 4, 6 minus 6 minus 5 in brackets equals 16, 3, and 0, which is 163. Pretty cool, right? As you can see, the maestro used this 163 to generate from the straw tweet multiple proofs to serially confirm my chemtrail article. Next time someone expresses his skepticism about Trump taking control of the chemtrails and reversing them, give them the link to this article and ask if he really believes all the coincidence from the Air Force One riddle to the NSA tweet to the Trump tweet can align at once. And this is actually the Team Trump tweet. You see why the fake news focused on these Trump straws? The Cabal is using its fake news to send coded signals to Trump about the reversed chemtrails. They are very well aware they have become the existential threat to them, and they are trying to stop Trump. Buckle up. Q113. What occurred the last time a countdown was presented? False flag? Do you believe in coincidence? Never interfere with an enemy. Ammunition is hard to come by. Q. Is that all? No. Let's go full circle and go back to the Trump recyclable straws. Let's watch the video where the maestro addresses the issue one more time. Here he goes.
Are you in favor of banning plastic straws?
I do think we have bigger problems than plastic straws. You know, it's interesting about plastic straws. So you have a little straw, but what about the plates, the wrappers, and everything else that are much bigger, and they're made of the same material? So the straws are interesting. Everybody focuses on the straws. There's a lot of other things to focus, but it's an interesting question.
So it has image 8 that says learn our comms. So you can see his signal here where he's got the 6 there, the 1 and the 3 here. And what he's basically saying, we have a little straw 224, similar to when we got the 5-5 confirmation here way back when. 163 plus equals QAnon is 61 is the 224. So he's basically pointing back to QAnon from that signal is what SB2 has decoded. Here's a couple of Q. He ends with this. He says Q2567. How do you safely and securely communicate through a back channel with the public by bypass the fake news media? How do you safely and securely communicate without breaking the law and violating national security? Add multiple layers of coincidences which mathematically prove legitimacy. Standard deviation. At what point do people wake up? Q3314. Only anons can fully appreciate the continued validations, confirmations through covert series of mathematically impossible coincidences means in order to maintain structural integrity. Wills up. Q. There you go, guys. There's that latest SB2 decode, basically pointing to the reversal of chemtrails and the plastic straw mystery there. That has been a great troll of the liberals who are freaking out about plastic straws, and he's selling them to raise money for his campaign. So here you've got In the Matrix has a full Twitter thread on the 1130 decodes if you guys want to go dig through that. And just pointing to that again. Here's some of SB2's other articles. I wanted to point to some other news real quick before I wrapped up here. Here's Mark Taylor basically talking about boom, more panic for the corrupt, as he retweets Trump that says we should immediately pass voter ID at voter ID please to ensure the safety and sanctity of our voting system. Also paper ballots as backup. Old-fashioned but true. Thank you. You can see, so there's obviously Mark Taylor recognizing the boom that happened when Trump tweeted a Q-oriented Twitter account. Here's Praying Medic. Praying Medic has this thing that says, this is funny meme. It says, targets may be closer than they appear. Happy hunting. And it's got Trump basically harvesting the corn, and there's Comey about ready to get chopped down. Some people come up with these creative memes. It just cracks me up. Here's Ryan Fournier, basically saying, breaking in a rare move, the Federal Reserve has just cut the interest rates for the first time since 2008 because of the strong Trump economy. You didn't see these results during the 8 years of Barack Obama. So there you go, guys. I mean, that's just finally him restructuring, at least getting some more Fed appointees in there. They were planning on raising the interest rates to kill this economy, and they did it for 6 straight times. And now finally, we've got a reversal of a trend, which is what they should be doing, is reducing those interest rates. So that is winning, winning, winning in the Trump era here. I just did a look here at the Twitter, and it was interesting when you just look at Twitter restructures relationship with agencies and ad tech partners. Replying sections of Twitter is filled with K-pop videos. Here's why. Snapchat and Twitter cannabis ad risk government crackdown. So I was just doing some investigation on Twitter here. And it's just real interesting to see what's happening to these guys, because they are trying to censor like mad right now. Here's a Twitter deal that just got posted by Trump 56 minutes ago, and he basically reversing something that he didn't think was right in the in the military achievement medal that was given. That it was based on who this Eddie Gallagher, in their case against the Eddie Gallagher. So they're basically rewarding prosecutors for unethical behavior, and Trump's reversing it completely. So he's bringing law and order back into our country. Here's George Papadopoulos saying, if Clinton was president, we would be in World War III with Russia today, with the Mueller dossier as the pretext. Scary stuff. What would have happened, guys, if that would have happened? I've just shown that vote is still being attacked pretty heavily, actually. So be careful of that. Look at this meme. This was pretty well done. See, I'm trying to figure out who I got this off of. So let me back up one. Darn it! Looks like that is. I think it was in the Matrix. Had this tweet here. So he has here's this tweet that basically talks about the 24-hour warning. It came out at July 24th of it. Like this, if you look at Eastern time, I guess the times I was looking, since I'm on the West Coast, it was looking at West Coast time. And so, and then 24-hour warning he gives right about midnight, right? And then he's just pointing back to 3529, which says the month of August is traditionally a really hot month. So that's why we're expecting the declasses to be real here. Here's this. I'll retweet this so you guys can find it on my Twitter if you're following me. And but look at this. This just shows the manpower it took to try to take Trump down. And it's all coated with arrows, and showing where the money's flowing from Perkins Coie as a shell number 1, shell number 2, and this Washington Beacon is a shell number 1, Fusion GPS is a shell number 2, to get all the money from Hillary Clinton and the DNC to Christopher Steele to do the completely salacious and unverified and horribly untrue dossier, which has been completely debunked by now, and giving it to McCabe, who's fortunately not here anymore, no name, who was giving it up into the FBI. And then you had up here at the top, you had the CIA of John Brennan, the DNI James Clapper, these criminals actually working with all these other criminals in the government, including Obama and Valerie Jarrett and Dennis McDonough, Joe Biden, Rahm Emanuel, from England, and you have John Kerry and Samantha Powers all working, and that was really the whole State Department and the Hussein administration, right? And then you had the whole CIA with John Brennan working against them, the whole DNI, all the intelligence communities besides the CIA working against them. And obviously you had Bill and Hillary going to the tarmac to telling Loretta Lynch, don't arrest Hillary, and we'll give you a Supreme Court position. And we have Sally Yates with the Adam's apple. You know what that means, those of you who've been watching and following my show. And then you had the Peter Strzok and David Loffman working and freeing up Hillary, as well as trying to frame Trump. You had obviously the John Podestas and the Roby Mooks and the DNC and Debbie Wasserman Schultz working against him. You had Huma Abedin, the good, strong aide of Hillary Clinton, working against him, and Cheryl Mills. You can see all these little arrows are pointing like an email server. So these guys were all on the email server, and this all goes down to Comey, who had one of the 13 email accounts as well. So you had Comey, McCabe, No Name, all having been selling out the country with the emails. And then you have Andrew McCabe here, and Jim Rybicki, and Michael Steinbach, and Bill Priestep, and Peter Strzok, and Lisa Page. All this. This is the whole corrupt FBI that he had to work up against, including James Baker, and Mike Cordrum, and Josh Campbell, and Sally Moore, and Tanisha Garner, and Kevin Kleinsmith. All of those people. And then you have the UK over here, working and doing spy activity, not only through Christopher Steele, but through the entrapment exercises, as we knew from Miss Fudd, as well as Downer from Australia. So this is even a lot bigger than what it shows. But this just shows you, we had the world Five Eyes countries against Trump. We had all these shell companies for the DNC and the, which we never would have found out with if Hillary had won. Right? So the corrupt DOJ, corrupt State Department, corrupt Obama administration, corrupt CIA, corrupt DNI, and corrupt organizations working with opposition research, all working against Trump. And he still won. So that is the miracle. You know God's in control when things like that happen. Here's a meme. Rachel Maddow's show on MSNBC crashing all the way down to 5th place. She now, after 2.5 years of lying to the public about the Russia, she's finally, her ratings are sinking. She fell all the way to 5th. This is jokes and says, MSNBC's Rachel Maddow slips to 5th place in July ratings behind Pepe the Frog on QAnon. Which is probably right. You look at the number of people who are watching QAnon versus Rachel Maddow, it's increasing tremendously. Here is the Pope. Look at what the symbol is on his garment there, guys. That is undeniably the unclassified FBI logo that pedophiles use for boy lover. All over the Pope's sash there. Sad, sad stuff when you see the symbolism will be their downfall. This Pope is a criminal, and it's going to all come out. And new stuff coming out from Trump. It's the last thing I'll cover before I run so I can get off to the airport, guys. We only have to check out this hotel within the next hour, so we need to get out of this. But this is the Trump saying the prosecutors who lost the case against SEAL Eddie Gallagher, I alluded to this earlier, who I released from solitary confinement so he could fight his case properly, were ridiculously given a Navy Achievement Medal. Not only did they lose the case, they had difficulty with respect to information that may have been obtained from opposing lawyers and for giving immunity to a totally incompetent fashion. I have directed the Secretary of Navy, Richard Spencer, and Chief of Naval Operations, John Richardson, to immediately withdraw and rescind the awards. So that just shows what's going on here is that we have a bunch of deep state still in power. I am very happy for Eddie Gallagher and his family. So Trump is fighting everywhere, fighting the swamp everywhere, and it's a beautiful thing to see. Hey, with that, guys, I'm not going to go into a prophecy today because I do need to get headed to the airport. But let me just close this down in prayer. And thank you for you guys. Heavenly Father, just thank you so much for this platform to be able to speak to so many people, and not only just live here, but just the recordings afterwards, and to keep us informed. Thank you for the Anons and their awesome research. Thank you for Q and the Socratic method of asking questions. And Lord, we just thank you so much more than anything just to put your hand on our 2016 election and now exposing this cabal for who they really are. Lord, please protect the children that are being trafficked. Allow them to be freed, healed, and reunited to their families, Lord, and just heal them and use them in a mighty way for your kingdom in the future, Lord. We look so forward to the day when this evil is eradicated from the earth, Lord. Use us in a mighty way. Let us know how to do that. We say these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining me here early on a Wednesday, July 31st here. Why I am ending my vacation and coming on back home. This is the Declass of text showing that now the fake news media is trying to get out ahead of a story where they know that the text message of McCabe and UK are going to be revealed, and there's going to be a lot more than that. That's going to show it's way deeper than what they allude to. Okay, I went through SB2 Decode, confirming the chemtrails have been reversed for a third time. Again, this is the Blessed Teach Show on July 31st. Rick, your host. God bless you guys. We will talk to you next time.